Apparently, someone said that I have to put my hands down to look confident, so I'm gonna do that. For you, let me preach, yeah? Shout out to you, bruv. You ready?
Yeah, just
look at this fucking sound engineer in the background, bro.
Listen, man, I'm just trying to adjust all the levels, make sure everything's sounding.
It's good.
Nice.
Sounds nice in my ears. Your voice sounds nice.
Yeah, thank you, man.
It's all right.
Obviously, it's your boy Kilimanjaro podcast over here. Shout out to CJ. Shout out to me. Shout out to Olivier.
Oh my
That's
god.
his name. That's it, innit? Pronounce.
Oh my
Oliver.
god.
It's not Oliver. It's Olivia.
Oliver.
Olivia.
Olivier.
Yeah,
Nah,
Olivia.
but
We
I heard
both
you on
very well.
BBC introducing, and it said
Yeah, if
Oliver.
you've heard me on BBC introducing, they call me Oliver Olivier.
Alright, so tell
So, yeah,
them
if you know.
tell them to fix up.
Yeah.
What should they be
please get my
saying?
name right. It's Olivier.
Olivier.
Olivier, like if you've heard of Olivier Giroud.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
people- It's that Olivier. Olivier.
yeah, man.
Sorry.
Man, we got Olivier in the building. He's an artist, upcoming artist. Been on BBC introducing a few times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, man. Good to have you in here, man.
Cheers, man. Thank you for having me.
Look at that
It's good
voice
to be
crack,
here.
bro.
Bro,
It's
I've
like-
been having voice cracks literally all week, man. I don't even know what's up with my voice.
No, thank you both for having me. It feels good to be here.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, man. But where do we even start, bro? So, I guess okay. Obviously, you didn't just walk in here,
Yeah.
right? We obviously spoke a little bit,
Yeah, a little bit.
but yeah. Talk to us about this music thing, bro. Like, why did you even start the shit in the first place?
Started, I don't want to say by accident, but I kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
So as I think we were speaking about a little bit earlier, I started producing and engineering, but that again was a bit of an accident. So when I was 17 and 18 as well, obviously like being a teenager and stuff, suffered quite badly with mental health at that stage in my life. And literally the only thing I would do to like escape or to like forget what was going on was by making like, GarageBand's the app. I'd make loops on GarageBand, and I'd go in school the next day and I'd show my friends and be like, "Oh, look what I've just made. This is so good."
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh yeah, really good." So literally they just started from that, and then I went to university, got a laptop with Logic on, and then went from there. I didn't really start wanting to be on the records as an artist until a bit later. I was getting the start. I was obviously putting a lot of time into the beats, making stuff which I thought was, creative and stuff that was personal to me. And then I got the stuff back and I was like, I don't like it. I don't like what you've done to it. So then I just started doing everything.
And are these the artists that try to hop on your beats, basically?
Yeah, listen, it wasn't bad artist. It just wasn't what I like. I made the song and I was like, I can't wait to hear this back. And then when I heard it back, I was like, it's just what I envisioned. So that's how it started. Literally, that's how it started.
That's so mad, because like as a producer, like okay, me thinking about like all of these rappers that I saw growing up and shit. It's like that's what you'd want to be doing, right? You wouldn't want to be on the producing side. Now, obviously, my co-host is a producer, and when you put out beats and stuff, you put out beats to a load of people. Now you're actually selling them to tens of people now. Should we say? Maybe more now. By the time this comes out, maybe more. But like, do you ever get that? Are you ever like, this guy fucked up my beat?
Bruh, listen, right.
Don't lie.
I'll be honest, right. Oh my, some of the songs I've heard back from some of the artists, it's a bit questionable. To be honest, the artist that I'm talking about, he didn't actually purchase it. He done a free, the free download option. Yeah, he did that. He put on like SoundCloud and that, so it wasn't like for profit and that. But yeah,
that's very different.
Yeah,
some of
I guess that's why you're talking about aggressively, innit?
Exactly.
Yeah, nah.
My
now, if you bought the beat, I could have helped you.
Exactly. My experience was never with someone who I was like, you're awful, you're rubbish, like you can't rap. It was mainly that thing of
you envisioned
exactly. I envisioned it. So like when I was making it, I was like, this should go here, and this is going to be here. I sent it back, and I was like, some of the songs did quite well, and I was like, some people like them. But for me, I was like, I'd like to have a go. It wasn't even like I want to do it. I was like, what if I was?
What if you could do
exactly? What if I could do it?
Yeah.
So that's literally how it started, and then just progressed from there. Literally progressed. Still doing it. So that was when I started like actually getting into music when I was 17, so 2017. When I was actually like making it properly, starting to focus on it was probably like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And obviously you might be the same. I went through stages where if there was no progression, obviously I had no idea what to do. Like no one helping me, no like team or management. Who's that? Is that someone from
Oh,
BeatStars asking if he, that's someone asking for a refund? on beat.
That's one of them complaints already, man. Coming through.
Exactly, he's in trouble.
Yeah, man.
So I was making music for a while, but obviously it goes in patches, like productivity. Sometimes if you're not receiving stuff back or you're doing stuff wrong, you might be like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah, you lose motivation.
Exactly.
Innit?
I think it's the same with
But
everything.
you don't lose discipline, right?
Not just music, but exactly. Not just music, I think with everything. If you're not getting something back, the motivation goes.
Yeah, man. Like if, for example, you start a YouTube page and you're not getting subscribers because like 96% of people are just not subscribing, you know, you could be a little bit pissed off at certain people who've been watching for ages, watching every video, watching 20 minutes or so. Listen, I'm not even passive aggressive right now. I'm angry at you. Subscribe to the thing, innit?
Subscribe.
Yeah. So if you like our content, please subscribe.
No. Subscribe.
Even if you don't
Even
like
if
it,
you don't
subscribe.
like it. You're supposed to be supportive.
There is no choice.
Hate comments are still comments.
Yeah, please
Please leave
just
'em.
give us hate. That's what we want. We want hate.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, man, I guess like you as a person, why do you feel like you lended yourself to music? Like,
Good
were you just
question.
always around it? Did you listen to a certain type of genre and that's the genre that you're making now?
Yeah, oh my goodness. So music for me has always been there. I think it's silly to say I'm into music, I love music. Everyone loves music, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't meet people like, I don't like music. I had a very, very wide taste growing up. So I remember the first time that I was introduced to any form of music was like hearing out my brother's room like Eminem screaming when I was like a young boy.
Yeah.
To hear Eminem like screaming about his
Mom
and
spaghetti.
exactly, yeah, mum,
Yeah.
all of this and like all the stuff that he like killing nuns. I was like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah. Killing nuns. That's an interesting hobby.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
know,
Yeah.
Exactly. Weird guy.
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I started to get into 60s and 70s. That was my first cult. Beatles. Oh my god, the Beatles. I was massive on the Beatles. I might show you a photograph afterwards of what I used to look like. But I used to have like very like not long hair, but like Justin Bieber like hair.
Yeah.
I used to wear like really baggy clothes, colourful clothes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I love all this like spiritual music, man.
Who's your
Yeah.
favorite member of the Beatles?
I used to have John Lennon. I used to have an obsession with him. I think it's most people's favorite. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause he was just the
yeah.
coolest. So huge Beatles stage. If people knew me when I was like 15 to 18, I would come in on like non-uniform days in just most garbage attire, man. Just weird, man. Just weird.
Just
clothes.
like parachutes on your legs. and that.
Oh, scandalous.
Yeah.
And then I got into indie music as well at the same time, like indie pop, indie rock music, and then obviously I found artists later in my teenage years who were fusing the genres together.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest influences is like Tyler the Creator, who will like fuse so many things together.
Yeah.
And be like, "Do you know what, this is like everything I was listening to growing up at the same time.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what I'm starting to manifest now. But as I said, music's always been there. My sister is an actual musician. Like that's a job. She lives in Los Angeles and she does that. So she was always a big part. Yeah. Hello, Claudia.
Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out to Claudia.
Thanks, Claudia. But yeah, so it's always been there. But as I said, there was no plan. There still isn't a plan. It was very much just a case of this is fun. We'll try and do it. Still is today. You know, my brother and I always say it's enjoyment, not expectation. You know, we go along to everything. We work so hard because we enjoy what we do. Yeah. But there's no ego. There's no like, you know, we should be doing this or like we can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like we enjoy it, and it's like if anything comes of it, amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. But it was never a plan. Like it was never like, oh, I love music. Growing up, I want to be a musician.
Yeah.
It was just always there.
Yeah, and I guess like you don't really hear many people saying, "Oh yeah, like I envisioned this from day one. Like I was always gonna do music."
Yeah.
Like I feel like that shit, even though it might be true to a certain extent, it's very cringy to say out loud, innit? It's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, like, I've been dreaming of this shit for ages.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like I deserve to be a celebrity, and everyone should listen to me.
Exactly.
Right? But as you said as well, everyone loves music, innit?
Yeah.
Like your Spotify is filled up with hella songs, and your mobile data is taking up all your space on Spotify, so you have to like
100%.
divert that shit.
Mine is, yeah.
And
what music do you both like? Like out of interest, what do you listen to?
Range. So obviously hip hop. I like I like 90s hip hop. Like
Okay.
I like obviously new wave. You know, like UK new wave.
Yeah, that's a big genre at the moment.
I love the genres. I listen to a lot of rock as well, like a bit of grunge. I'm not gonna lie.
Bit grunge, yeah. Okay,
like,
are you feeling all right?
yeah, a bit of that. I like just a range. I like a lot of soul, or old school soul, old school R&B, old school funk, stuff like that. I like
everything.
Yeah, man. They're literally like, I don't know why as well. I like Latin music as well. Just the
Latin music.
yeah, the
Okay.
musicality of it. But yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just like I like a range of stuff as well.
Of
Really.
course.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, man, it's kind of like old school 90s rap, maybe. Like, grew up listening to Tupac and shit. Like, I kind of stayed in rap,
Shout out to Tupac.
to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like yeah, the new wave like trap music, like Nave Smalls and all of that shit.
Yeah, he's big at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, man. So
Doing his thing.
yeah, just anything wavy, innit?
Of course.
So that's why I like break, obviously,
Oh, thank you
Come
very
on,
much.
wavy.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
like
Yeah.
wavy.
because it's
Thanks,
like
man.
wavy chill. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like something that you can study to and you can also like bop to.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I appreciate that, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's the style that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
That beat, actually, so even though I make quite a lot of the beats and stuff, that beat was from a guy called STK, who is a fantastic producer at that kind of style. And I heard it, literally, I was just flicking through. I think I was like revising for an exam the next day. I was just flicking through on YouTube, not expecting to find anything onto the background. I heard that first chord,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, was
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, this is nice. So then it just came from there. So yeah, he's a big part of that. So he's got a lot of credit to have. But I like it a lot. It was one of those songs I made. So I was like, when I got home, I was like, even though I've heard it quite a few times, I want to listen to it.
Yeah.
So that's why I knew I just got to release it, got to get out. But I mean, thank you for listening and stuff.
Yeah, man. Well,
Appreciate
we've
it.
heard it like probably too many times at this point. I can't lie.
Exactly. Yeah, for another one's better than me.
Yeah, man. And like, it's kind of easy to say, okay, cool. Like, I'm into music. I make music, and the reason why is because I've been listening to it. I like all different types of genres, so I know how to kind of manipulate sound. I've been practicing it for a while, so I'm kind of used to it as well. But I feel like more so a lot of people get into music because they understand how much it impacts their life and their thoughts and like subconscious thoughts in particular. So I went to a conference today, and one of the main takeaways from it was that 95% of thoughts is unconscious.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Or not even thoughts, but like what you end up doing, because most of life is on autopilot based on
100%.
what you've decided to do, right?
Everything's
Based
a-
on your
yeah.
discipline.
Everything's a decision.
So do you feel like you got into music for that reason too? Or do you
Yeah.
even think about that kind of shit?
No, so you're right. At the beginning, I did. As I said,
Yeah.
so I started getting into it because I wanted to break thought patterns in my head of like
Yeah.
anxiety and depression. So that's definitely what I got into it for.
Mm.
You're right. So it probably, even though I don't think about it as much now, it's probably for the same reason. You're right. It's probably because
Yeah.
it's still there and it's something which stimulates my mind, so I don't have to think about something that's too introverted. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So no, you're right. Yeah, that's a deep question. I haven't.
Yeah, but
I haven't
it's
thought about
it's
that
a
before, but yeah.
phase though, innit? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna be sitting there like all the time, like my subconscious thoughts are overtaking everything in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna do that. But there's gonna be phases where I'm like, okay, I'm going down a path that's not for me. Why is that happening? And then I kind of go back to,
Yeah.
oh, what kind of subconscious thoughts is feeding me?
Exactly.
So what about you?
No,
Do you
yeah.
feel like that as well? Like, oh, I'm trying to break patterns in my head.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've got a lot of patterns in my head, man.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like what? Explain that.
Nah, just about about the future, about where I'm going with everything. Just
Nah, stop being vague.
But listen,
Yeah,
I'm not
specifics,
listen,
exclusives.
Be
Yeah.
specific, but like don't obviously give away your fucking blueprint.
Listen, man. Listen,
You can still
listen. This is not
elaborate.
a therapy session, man. Listen.
We can make it one.
But nah, just things like that,
look. He likes the sound of your voice. I'm trying to like,
Yeah, I do.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to feed him. Yeah.
Feed me. Trying to feed me.
I think everyone's like that. I feel like anything you go into, you're going to not understand where it will make you end up. You don't know where that path is going to necessarily take you. You can make estimates and you can like judge based on, historical data, right? Like you can even take an example, like the first time you spoke to a girl ever, and it was probably shit, right?
Of course, man.
How'd it go?
I can't remember, but yeah.
The first time I spoke to a girl, I was like, as in seriously, I was like 16. I was in it, and
Oh,
you know
bail
how
out
it
the
was. We're gonna fucking cut that, innit?
Government
But
names.
I was in and I was like trying to, I guess, be kind of jokey, but also it was kind of cringy because I was like acting up in front of teachers and shit like that.
Of course.
So like I was like taking the piss out of the teacher, who was literally like some Mauritian math teacher, innit? And I was like making fun of her accent and shit. And she was like, "Why are you making fun of me? You're literally brown like me. Like, why would you do that?"
She's done nothing to deserve
Yeah,
that as
yeah,
well.
she's done nothing to deserve this.
Goes to job. There's a bunch of kids that she hates.
Yeah,
And now
literally.
you're giving her.
Yeah, literally, man. And my
unnecessary
mom's a
abuse.
teacher now, innit? So like, well, what the fuck am I doing, right? But yeah, I use that piece as like, okay, a way to like, you know what? I'm quite funny, so I can, you know, chat to you about shit. And you know, it didn't go well. I didn't have any confidence after. I had the most confidence taking the piss out of the teacher. When it came to the conversation with the girl, I was like, you know what I mean? But yeah, you can take things like that and you can be like, okay, cool. Because of that incident, I'm not going to talk to girls anymore. Or you can just be like, okay, I'm going to fuck up loads of times and then hope that it gets me somewhere.
Yeah, trial and error.
And it got you
100%.
somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So in the same way, that's what you're doing right now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you get anywhere with the girl?
No.
No.
No. It was
When you
horrible.
said trial and error, I
It
thought
was
you might
horrible.
meant
That was
there
error.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
There was no trial. That was just error,
Okay,
bro.
that was just error. Okay.
But yeah, obviously you develop that skill over time, and then you know,
Yeah.
like I've had experience.
And now you're the top flirt.
I'm
top flirt.
definitely
now.
not the
Top
top
flirt.
flirt.
Yeah.
I'm
Top
actually
20%.
Trial and error.
Yeah,
Nah,
alpha
it
male.
depends. It depends.
High
go
value
go
male.
watch the episodes we done with girls.
I'm gonna do that now.
I'm not saying I flirt. I'm just saying like I'm not a pussy when it comes to talking to girls anymore, innit?
Okay.
Ah,
Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, mate.
But yeah,
Alpha male in
Yeah.
the building.
Wow.
don't ever refer to me as alpha male. All right, I don't even want to be an Adonis. All right, that's not me. That's not me. But yeah, you were in Sneako's video, innit?
Yeah, I've been in 2 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sneako.
So how did that come about?
Big shout out to Sneako.
Yeah,
Shout out
man.
to Sneako.
Yeah, thank you, Sneako. So Break released
Yeah.
and it got some decent traction. We had people, advertise it for us, which is very kind. Like
Yeah.
Instagram pages and stuff. We didn't even ask some of them. And then obviously we got added to loads of playlists. And then one day, Sneako's editor,
Musa, innit?
yeah, Musa edits,
Yeah.
absolute legend. Thanks, Musa. Shout out to Musa.
Yeah.
He I can't remember how it started, but it was something along the lines of he was just really like the song, wants to reach out, and then he asked if we could use it in a video, and I was thought nothing of it. I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, use it in a video,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. Most people aren't like that, you know. Like we've spoken to a lot of rappers at this point.
but why? What's the issue with it?
Yeah, that's the thing, innit? Like,
It's like
exposure,
pe-
man.
Yeah, go
exactly.
on.
It's just help.
Yeah,
Go on,
like
sorry.
especially if you're like an upcoming artist, I feel like that's gonna actually help you.
Yeah.
You need all the help you can get, mate. If you can get plays anywhere, if you can get your song exposed, there's little. Do you know what I mean? For upcoming artists, there's a limited budget. You know, we're not record labels. We don't have infinite money behind us to push these huge ad campaigns. If anyone's offering to play it anywhere, I say yes. If you want to use the
Yeah.
song, yes, you can.
Yeah.
So
But some people look at themselves differently, innit? Like, for example, they have this entitlement in them that's like, okay, my song deserves to be played on X station and Y station, not some random Instagram page, because I'm going to try and give you copyright strikes and shit like that. Because they're that entitled. They think that they're like a Kanye West. And technically speaking, that shit
like-
works.
No, but Kanye, but
Does that make sense?
no, but to be honest, someone like Kanye West, he's already up there, innit?
Kanye
Yeah,
West
but
is
I'm
Kanye
saying,
West,
like-
man.
Innit, it's
Kanye
Kanye-
West
Yeah.
has done it. He can pick and choose what he wants.
Exactly.
Yeah, but back in the day, he had that same mentality. If you watch
Yeah.
his documentary, do you know what I mean? He acted in exactly the same way with no credentials.
No credentials.
So what I'm saying is, these people are trying to replicate that sort of mantra in their head.
Of course. And for some people that might work,
Yeah,
but for me,
but for
it was-
majority of people,
for me, it's a case of, if I had ego could kill you, and I'm not
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
that like I could. I'm saying this is like a guy who's completed anything, but from my opinion, from people that I've seen,
yeah,
ego, whether it's you don't want to perform a certain place, you don't want to talk to certain people with certain artists, or have your song released in a certain place, just ego's going to kill you, man. Because you're the same. Talking down on someone is just silly, in my opinion, whether you're an artist or not. Anyway, sorry, it's back to Sneako. So Musa hit me up and was like, I love the song, can I use it in a video? Absolutely, you can. Next day, I see that my Spotify numbers are just growing crazy.
yeah,
And suddenly I'm added, you can see what playlist you're added to.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that I'm being added to Sneako's playlists. And I was like, what's happened here? I was like,
Yeah,
this is very strange.
this is lit. It's not
Exactly. And then,
strange, it's
and then,
lit in
and
your
then he
head.
sent me the video. And I was
Yeah.
like, I just messaged him. I was like, thank you so much, man. I
Yeah.
had no clue that this was what you were talking about.
Yeah,
And then he just went from there. And so we used it once, got lots of traction. lots of numbers, helped me out a lot. And he's just used it in another one. So he used it in one. I think Sneako's been to Amsterdam soon, and he's just used it in that one as well. So it's literally connections like that invaluable, absolutely invaluable, because you build that connection. And I've said to him, I'm like, you know, I'm going to release new songs soon, so you won't have to keep using the same one.
Yeah.
But it's invaluable. Sneako has helped break a lot, so grateful, man, really grateful. And it's if I had said this thing like, you know, you can't use the song, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Blessings wouldn't have happened. I
Yeah,
didn't
if
know
you were Stush and if you had that fat ego, then it wouldn't have worked.
And I didn't know if he had 5 subscribers or 50,000. I didn't check.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just said, you know, you can use it wherever you are.
Yeah, man, because you're taking a break from your phone, innit?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, quote the line. I haven't
Yeah.
used my phone in years. I wish I could take a break from my phone.
Yeah.
But
So let's talk about that a little bit then.
yes.
So you said you had like mental health issues, anxiety and stuff like that.
yes.
It's kind of overplayed, but I want to kind of hear your take on it before I say anything.
Absolutely.
So yeah, talk to me about like the mental health issues that stopped you from doing whatever shit you were trying to do at the time.
Yeah. Okay. So my childhood was had lots of crazy events in it. So the big event that shaped me and probably shaped my mental health, my thought patterns, was that my mum passed away when I was 8, and it was like not a nice death either. Watched it happen pretty much, so it was pretty like hard as an 8-year-old to take that. So obviously, as an 8-year-old, all the other kids in the playground are getting told, you know, tooth fairies and Santa Clauses. Mine is like au pairs and like how to make yourself dinner if dad isn't home and money and all of this. So it's like a fast upbringing.
Yeah.
So it's strange because it matures you a lot and it rids you of your innocence, and it obviously puts these thoughts into your heads. Because when you see stuff, man, you replay it and you don't understand it when you're 8 years old. So when you get older, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, everything's fine. Like I've got a nice, happy family and stuff."
Yeah.
Then it starts to hit you again. You're like, "Well, did this happen to me for a reason?" Whatever you can just go down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
So so that's probably where it came into it. That's why music started for me. Because I was 17, 18. Obviously, teenage years are tough for everybody, but for me especially, I was freaking out, man. I was not in a good place.
And is that because you were like reflecting back on that time?
Yeah, I think so. So I think like subconscious anxiety that built up and built up and built up and built up. And I experienced a lot of, it's called depersonalization, which is, I think it's a symptom of anxiety, and I didn't understand it. And what it feels like is when you're really anxious and it doesn't feel like you're awake. Very strange. You feel like you're kind of in a bit of a dream or a fake reality. And for me, you like, the more you think about it and the more stress you get, the worse it gets. So you feel like you're like paranoid as hell, right?
Yeah.
And the more you think about it, the more you worry, the longer it gets, the more days you have, the more down you get. So it was just a cycle, and it was just like killing me, like inside and out. So that's probably where it stems from, all of this stuff. Break touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Break, I'll be honest, was totally, so I heard that, as I said, the beat came on from STK, and I heard it and I was like, wow, that's nice. And literally, I wasn't even thinking about it. The first thing that came into my head was, going on in my space, hey, baby, just give me a break. And then I was like, they always say on videos I've watched, the first melody or the first lyrics come into your head are the most catchy, so use them. Like, you try and think it too much, people won't be like it as much. So I used that as the starting point, and then it just went from there. Break, really, to be honest, is a little bit about fake. So the chorus mainly touches on when someone will leave you alone, like, oh, just go away, don't want to speak to you right now, I need a break from you. Which is pretty much a lie from me, because it's like, oh, I've had all these girls hitting my phone and I just need a break from you. That's a lie, but I've heard it's annoying. So I just took on the thing. But you're right, the verses touch on it a little bit. I'm trying to think of any lyrics that might come to mind.
So that not being able to take a break from your phone.
Exactly, yeah, taking a break from my phone as well. So, okay, so that
and
is
obviously that's like a first world problem that we all kind of have.
Exactly, and sometimes phones, it's been well illustrated that phones aren't great for mental health in the best of times.
Well, phones just exaggerate what you're already thinking, because it's geared to an algorithm.
Yeah,
and if you're having negative thoughts, which is said to be the deadliest parasite that you could have, then it's going to be fucked, isn't it? Because your algorithm is going to supercharge that.
Exactly. And even when you're in that hole, you start to look up, symptoms, and you start to look up videos, and I was get well. So you're right, even the adverts and stuff that came up are like therapy and like all this.
And to be fair, whenever you're ill, you should never Google anything.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know that now.
I learned that.
Yeah, I know that now. Yeah, I know that now. But But anyway, yeah, break touches a little bit on that. But the chorus, that very first line, literally was just the first thing that came into my head. And the rest of the song built. So I knew it was going to be called Break from the second it came on. And then it was a case of, okay, that's songwriting as a process works in many different ways. Sometimes you get the idea and then you write the song. So you're like, I want to write a song about this event or this struggle. And you pick the beat or you make the beat specialized and you write it like that. Sometimes you hear something and then the first thing you think of, like, yeah, that's the song. Even if it doesn't really mean much to you, you're like, I've got to run with this now.
Yeah, because it's the catchiest thing that you could actually pluck out.
Exactly. It's that thing of, again, not having an ego, not being like, not set in your ways so much. That's why I use other people's beats if I like them, because I'm not egotistical enough to reject it if I really like it. I'm not one of those guys who's like, no, it has to be me, it has to be all my own work. Yeah. I know, if it works, let's make something together and let's make Break.
And obviously it's you never know, man. I might have to slip you a beat sometime.
Exactly. CJ's going to be hitting me up now because all of his BeatStars customers are gone. I'm going to be the only one who's got left. Literally, I'm in hostile territory now. If he doesn't like what I do, I'm next. I'm next off his list.
Next off the fucking list, bro.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I guess it's like everyone has mental health struggles, but obviously what you dealt with was different in nature.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And I guess it's weird to even say this, but obviously it's a valid reason to have mental health issues. But I don't think it was necessarily your mum passing that gave you the mental health issues. It might have been the spark, but it's the thoughts that happen afterwards.
The trigger cause, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Is the real cause, because what that does is it exaggerates it.
Of course. But
how are you moving from the age of like 9 to 17?
Yeah.
Because you skipped that out.
Yeah, sorry. Big part.
Yeah.
So I think, as I said, it's your family life and you notice it. Yeah. Is weird. It's much different to everyone else's. I grew up, I'll be honest, in a pretty affluent area. I grew up in a decent area. Not so far from, obviously, we know what we're talking about. Quite middle class. Everyone's still got their parents. Not many divorces and stuff. People have still got parents together. And they have happy families and stuff. And they go home to that. Or even when I went around to people's houses and stuff and had dinner with them, that's when you notice it. So then from the ages of like 9 to 17, it's a case of au pairs, which for people who don't know are like nannies. They're like people who come stay with you. So that when you like, your dad's not home because he's working, she takes care of you, and they like replace and they switch and they swap, so sometimes you didn't even know you were coming home to. Over there.
It's like assistant teachers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like supply teachers. Yeah, exactly. So that's like uncertainty probably stemmed a little bit.
Turn your phone off, man.
From it. Yeah, who's messaging you?
Bro, I need a break.
It's all these girls that trial and error, because goodness me,
I need a break.
Trials worked. Wow.
Maybe.
Popular.
Yeah, goodness me. Yeah, anyway, so it was just that uncertainty and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it just like growing up very quickly. Had to grow up really quickly. Independence, like thought patterns, think about my dad, because I'm one of 5 kids originally. So my dad now, his wife has died pretty suddenly, unexpectedly. So, and like he's now got to raise 5 kids, and he's still got to hopefully work and provide and stuff and be the thing that a parent should be and provides and be strong at the same time.
He had to make those arrangements, innit?
Not only has he got twice the work to do as a parent because the mum isn't there, he's also got to be twice as strong because his kids are all down, his wife's died, so he's got to be that figurehead. Yeah. And he's got to be that rock and financial means as well. So it's tough, man. It's tough. But anyway, you can't blame the cards you're dealt. You cannot blame that. So in many ways, it's made me stronger, a better person now, maybe grew up a lot quicker than other people. But as a young kid growing up, hormones, puberty, teenage years, you're right, that all those thought processes, uncertainty, a lot of rap nowadays and people who make rap, they rap about financial struggles and stuff, which is fantastic. Sorry, that's the wrong word to use. Not
I'm
fantastic.
so happy that everyone has financial
struggles.
struggles.
That everyone has financial struggles. But
it makes me feel better.
But the goal is obviously to ameliorate their situation. Often
Yeah.
financially. So there's like, I come from nothing and I want to make something of myself. That story of like nothing to something.
Which
is like so many
the
people
underdog
relate to.
story.
Exactly, the underdog story. Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why it works so well. My side of rap and stuff is like, I didn't have necessarily like fiscal struggles growing up, money struggles. It was more like, I don't want to say mental struggles, that's too broad, but you know what I mean, in terms of like, it wasn't necessarily money that was like on my mind and I wanted to talk about. It was like experiences I had as a child that no one else had. So it was like, I still felt singled out and odd one out, even though it wasn't to do with the traditional way of like poverty and stuff, which I'm grateful for. You know, there was always food on the table, but there wasn't a mum serving that food. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was tougher sometimes. But anyway, the long-winded answer. But 9 to 17, just uncertainty. So you're right. It's the event doesn't cause it necessarily. It helps. It's the stuff afterwards, and it's the thoughts you get yourself into, and the cycles you keep seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I went a bit.
No, but that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like when you're becoming an adult, right? There's certain lessons that you learn that are kind of invaluable from your mom, right?
100%.
And obviously you missed out on that, but that also means that you have to find another way to get those lessons.
Yeah, you have to find them somewhere.
And most of that happens with females, right? Because they're maternal lessons that you learn.
Yeah.
So what was happening with the females, bro?
Oh my goodness. So when I have 3 older sisters.
Yeah.
So that's often where it comes into it.
So
I was the youngest of the 5. I've got one brother who manages me now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, that
3
all makes
sisters,
sense now.
3 sisters older than me. So
Yeah.
a lot of my influence came from them because obviously they were always in the house. I grew up with, even though there was no mum, I grew up with women in the house, sisters. So yeah, a lot of it came from them. I'll be honest, I wasn't like you, man. I wasn't too smooth when I was younger. Still working on it now. I'll be honest, I'm still working on it now. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily trial and error with girls and girlfriends. It was mainly just like seeing sisters and stuff. And that breaks you, man. Like seeing sisters and stuff go through things without their mum.
Yeah, of
course. That mother, obviously mother, father's strong as well. But what am I talking about? Daughter, father. But daughter, mother is also really strong in terms of like the lessons they give and confiding in them. Yeah. About
it's just like things that are easier to have go talk about.
So but anyway, there was female influence in the house.
Yeah.
Just in the form of sisters. But I wasn't like you. I wasn't a womanizer.
No, I didn't say I was a womanizer. I didn't say that.
Before the show, he said he was a massive womanizer.
That's not what I said.
That's what he said.
That's what you're saying.
Before we went like.
No, I'm lonely still.
Tell me about you. So have you guys had any problems with like doubts on mental health recently or in the past?
Yeah, I've had my fair share of mental health battles. I mean, I'm not gonna go too into it, but
no, it's fine. I think it's natural. I think everyone has them.
Yeah, I think everyone has like thoughts that are parasites, and I think people just internalize it in different ways. And I feel like some people have traumatic experiences in life that gets to them. So, for example, like I've had like exes who have been like mistreated in like previous relationships, for example, right? And that shit, although it doesn't really like make them the person that they are necessarily, it does have an effect on how they react in relationships in general.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So you kind of see that, and you kind of like, I don't know, like for me, for example, I saw that in my life, and I was like, okay, traumatic experiences make people feel like this. Why haven't I received that kind of traumatic experience?
Yeah.
And if I was looking into myself, then the reason why is because I rejected it, because men are not supposed to have like these kind of like talks with.
Of course, they're not supposed to be
other men necessarily.
Yeah.
So I started having those talks with women, and I started like exploring myself, and then I realized, and I realized that through those deep conversations where I was able to be more vulnerable, I realized that I was not using the yin side of myself, because everyone has yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you said womanizer, I have to obviously bring a caveat that, listen, I've been in like relationship, like long relationships, mainly. Yeah. And through those, I've kind of like learned from other people's traumatic experiences. And then I haven't had any events like that happen in my life directly, but through relationships, like I had one really bad breakup, for example, and that kind of spiraled me into like doing poetry and doing the things that I really like doing now, for example. And I guess similarly to a lot of people who are creatives, those traumatic experiences build out your creative spirit because you need an outlet. Yeah, and I think obviously if you have the voice and you have the talent, music is that outlet that you can use, right? Yeah. Like in almost the same way that I use relationships to kind of understand myself a bit better, and obviously the other person, you guys confided in music.
Exactly.
in the
Everyone's
same
got
way
something.
that you obviously confided in your sisters. Like,
What about that?
I have a sister as well right now.
Mm.
She's younger than me, and she almost mothers me sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know, she understands me as a sister, right?
Maternal
And
instincts,
it's very different. Like yeah, the way my sister talks to me versus like the way I speak to women is very different.
Mm.
You know, and I'm having to like kind of dial that back because I realize that I'm a kind of a role model to this girl at the same time. So
course,
it's like, shit, what do I do now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always that maternal instinct, and I feel like I guess it's a blessing that you had sisters as well to kind of
Big blessing. Big
Yeah.
blessing.
carry on what you needed,
Exactly.
if that makes sense.
Literally carries forward into how you treat women in the future as well. I think, or how you view relationships and stuff.
Definitely.
Having older sister or younger sisters, like women in the house.
Yeah,
And you've seen them, especially with older sisters. You've seen them come home crying, and what like because they're males that they were with.
yeah,
You see what male like ignorance does, and like
yeah,
male
literally.
just like stuff that they do is wrong, and you see the effect it has on them at home. You know,
Mm.
so it's kind of gives you it from the other side in case you want to go, oh, do you know what, like, you know, cheating, for example, whatever. Like I've seen that directly from the other side. And
Yeah.
it's like just the worst, man. And obviously, guys who haven't had that growing up, they might be a bit more selfish and be like, yeah, but she'll be alright.
Yeah,
If
and
she's
some
not right,
people are
she's
just
not
so
right.
oblivious to the shit that they do. Like, me and CJ have obviously had friends who have cheated, and we've been like, calm.
Name drop.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. But
Listen,
do you know what I mean? Like, people have obviously cheated, and they've cheated before, and obviously we're not gonna say anything because there are
Yeah.
guys in it. We have to back them,
You're safe.
right? But at the same time, yeah,
Mm.
that's gonna fuck up the thing.
Yeah.
And if in a couple years' time that thing becomes yours, then you have to deal with the backlash from before
You know,
that she's already dealt with.
yeah.
Because regardless, she's going to bring that energy into the relationship unless she has done the introspective work. And not many people can do that because, as I said before, there's 95% of unconscious thoughts that we have to unearth.
Right there.
You know what I mean?
But are you saying you'll go out with your friend's ex?
That's not what
Hang
I
on,
said.
what?
Don't make that connection like that.
Sorry, yeah, I was just
Don't make that connection like that.
snap
But
back in.
but having said that, there was a guy who was like my homie in sixth form.
Okay,
Yeah, and I didn't know him like that,
yeah.
but he was like an extension of my other friend. You know the story.
I know
It's
the
back in the
story.
day. It's
I
when
know the
I
story.
decided to stay in Middlesex for a go, and then I realized that wasn't gonna work. But yeah,
Oh dear.
but yeah, it happens, innit? Like you realize how bad it is when you're vulnerable and a girl's telling you a story versus hearing it from an outside perspective when you're not involved. You know,
course.
I've spoken about this for way too long, man. Way too long. But yeah, man. So music, yay! Let's talk about that.
about
Woo.
music.
No, I guess where do you want to go with this stuff?
Good question. As I said at the start, we have that thing of enjoyment, not expectation. So
Mm.
there's no expectation of where we want to take it. I know for a fact we work. So when I say we, I'm talking about me and my brother
Yeah,
JBM, who manages. Well, I say manages a very loose term because it makes me sound like I've got lots of.
No,
work to
you
do.
work
And
together.
Like yeah, exactly. It's like a related.
you work together on
exactly
this project
me,
that
me
is
and
Olivier
him
music.
together
Yeah,
make Olivier. Like
Yeah.
without him, there's no Olivier at all.
yeah,
We work harder than anyone else, in my opinion. That is at
Yeah.
our level now. We will go to everything.
yeah.
I will perform shows 5 days a week, no matter if it's in a basement or no matter if it's, obviously it's not, but if it was Camden
Yeah,
House,
yeah,
you understand the thing I'm making. We'll turn up, we'll chat to people, network, message people on Instagram, emails constantly. Just like work as hard as we can. Not
Mm.
because not because we feel a sense of duty that we need to get somewhere, just because we enjoy what we do.
Mm.
And the experiences we have, how we've got in touch, how you guys got in touch with us with Break, that's all through the hard work we do. Like the stuff that we do, messaging, getting out there, making relationships and connections, is through that. So the future, I think, is going to be a lot more content in terms
Yeah,
of loads of new songs coming,
Well,
which
like
I'm really,
freestyle videos and
really,
that.
really excited about.
Yeah.
Not now.
Not now.
Not now.
Don't
Not now.
leak it now.
Don't spring on me like that.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of new songs, which I'm really excited about. Stuff which is like I think is going to get better and better and better. Not just in this avenue I'm with Break, but also branching out to other things.
Mm.
It'll
really
probably be
excited.
out by the time this comes out.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully you'll enjoy what you're hearing.
A question, because apparently you're known as Olivier.
Yes.
Apparently your name is not Olivier.
No.
Your
My real name, my gov name is not Olivier. No. My real name is Larry. Well, it's
Larry.
Lawrence, full name.
Yeah,
Mm.
Larry Shawns. The reason why we got Olivier is because obviously when we started making music, I needed a name to release under, and I was like, Larry's silly. I'm not going to get anywhere with Larry.
Larry's an alright name.
Yeah,
innit?
but I mean, come on, like, it just wasn't. I just didn't like it enough. So then,
you should have stuck with Larry, bruv.
Come on.
oh, you think?
You missed the buck on that one.
Literally, if I could, I'd go back and
People
change
would
it
have
'cause
loved
everyone,
that shit.
everyone gets it wrong as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a
Everyone
rapper
gets it
called
wrong.
Larry June.
Exactly, he's taking my name. He's taking my name.
Yeah, but
Um,
you weren't BBC introducing and they fucking...
Yeah, they call. I
Yeah.
think it was. I think they called me Olivia, Oliver,
Yeah.
one of those.
Mm.
I get those all the time.
And it's not that, it's Olivier Giroud, isn't it?
Exactly like Olivia
Yeah.
Giroud. Yes.
Like
So-
Olivier Giroud.
And the reason why is because, so I started. So my name's Larry or Lawrence, and I put. I literally was like, I can't think of a name. I thought I was the name Vortex for 3 days because I have a back of my neck when my hair grows really wrong. It grows in like a spiral.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing I could think of that was creative about me. I was like, oh, Vortex. And I was like, that's shit.
Bro.
That was it. I was like, no one wants to hear Vortex. So then,
I'm glad-
can you
I'm glad
imagine
you
that?
didn't call
Vortex on the mic.
Yeah, exactly. Vortex. Yeah.
No, what?
Vortex.
Take a life too
Spit something.
seriously, bro.
Exactly. So it was. I then started putting my name in a rap name generator, as I found lots of other rappers do,
Yeah.
and I couldn't quite be called Larry Too Trappy or something
Yeah.
because look at me and listen to me. Could
What?
not be called.
You could
well,
be a
I-
trapper,
well,
bruv.
I could be.
It is.
Yeah,
I'm not,
man.
I'm
Don't downplay yourself, innit?
Exactly. But
The
anyway,
streets need you.
yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. And anyway, I was thinking about the name, and my dad named me after a guy called Laurence Olivier. That's my name. So Lawrence
Okay,
was
cool.
Laurence Olivier is an actor, and I was like, Olivier sounds cool. We'll just go with Olivier, and it didn't change. So yeah, my gov name is Lawrence or Larry, but everyone calls me Oliver, which I hate. Please don't call me that everywhere we go. But yeah, what's your guys' plan? So I've talked a little bit about what I'm gonna do, which is keep working hours and making stuff and just enjoying it. For your guys, for this, what you envision now and the work you guys do, what do you have any goals or what you see happening in the future?
We spoke about this on the last episode a little bit, innit?
I think yeah. a
It's
little
like
bit,
we linked up with this guy from Birmingham called Jazz the Kid, innit? And we were just speaking about how the goalposts move based on the outcome that is perceived by everyone else.
True.
So, for example, you're saying it's enjoyment over what?
Expectation,
Yeah.
copyrighted.
Yeah. So we're also obviously trying to do that, and I think everyone who hasn't made it to a position, if they say anything other than they don't enjoy what they're doing,
Yeah.
then they're not going to get anywhere.
Of course, man.
Because if you don't enjoy the process
Yes.
and you enjoy the outcomes, then you're fucked. Because it's not about
It was
the
so
outcomes.
spiritual until you said you're fucked.
I know, but like
I was listening thinking he
I
should
had
write
to
a book
change
and
it.
then you're fucked.
I had to change it. Yeah, but you are in it because like if you're outcome orientated, you obviously know that you're not always going to get the right outcome, and you're gonna set yourself up for failure because your expectations are too high. And when your expectations are too high, you won't be able to have happiness. And that's kind of how our brains are wired. Do you know what I mean? Our brains are wired to meet expectation, and if we don't meet expectation, then shit hits the fan.
Exactly.
Like, I'll bring another example from this fucking conference that I went to, innit, that I
this
sat for like
conference sounds
4
good, yeah.
hours, bro.
Yeah.
My butt's hurting, innit? But the whole thing was kind of about like flight mode, innit?
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight. And he gave this stupid example, right, of how you get anxiety and stress if tomatoes aren't in the right aisle in a supermarket.
Yeah.
Because if
okay,
they're like
yeah.
in the sweets aisle or something, your brain's gonna be like, this is not how merchandising was for the last 30 years. It's not gonna work. And then you like, you know, when you sweat, for example,
When I sweat.
when you sweat,
Yeah.
that is a sign that you're like either stressed or aroused.
What about if it's really
by something.
fucking hot?
Yeah, I've literally been sweating the whole
I was gonna say this
episode.
room is so hot. So
Yeah,
I'm
well, if
sweating
you're in a
like-
podcast studio trying to like
Oh, sorry, I'm aroused.
Sound-
Yeah, during it, like.
if you're trying to sound intelligent in a podcast studio that has no air conditioning, obviously you're going to sweat. That's biological.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is when it's not biological and you're sweating because of a thought, then that is stress induced.
What is it? So it's anxiety or arousal.
Yeah.
No, so I've got him in my ear, so I'm probably aroused as well.
Innit?
Yeah,
just
so that's
CJ's
why you're
just
sweating
very,
right
very
now.
high in my ears. So that's probably why I'm sweating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
One
But
reason.
like, yeah, it's that example, and then it's also like, you know, if a girl randomly texts you and says we need to talk, it's that same feeling as if the tomatoes are misplaced in the supermarket, because you get that same stress hormone,
And this-
cortisol.
And this conference took you 4 hours.
Yeah, but it wasn't just about fucking tomatoes, bro.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the cucumbers and the lettuce. Christ.
Yeah,
Put
literally, bro.
Put them in the wrong place.
I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. But yeah, man, it's just we all have this thing called cortisol in us.
Mm.
We all have this thing called endorphins. And these things are playing to our disadvantage or our advantage.
Yeah.
And if we want to remain happy doing what we're doing, then we just have to remain consistent and we have to love the process. We have to fall in love with the process.
True.
So I guess what we're trying to do with this podcast is, you know, build our brand up, because
course.
personal brand is very important,
Mm.
because that allows you to pull extra levers, that allows you to sell the clothing line that you've always wanted, which is which is obviously perpetrated, you know, like, oh yeah, you should have a clothing line, but it's just one of the things that we want to do, because we don't want to just buy designer brands and have our pockets be thin.
Mhm.
We want to rep our own shit so that we're comfortable in our own skin and then monetize it, for example.
Good idea.
So it's not just the clothing line, obviously. It's because I want to do books. It's because I want to,
Poetry.
you know, write my poetry
Yeah.
out there and have an illustrator work on a children's book, for example, where it's like decoding deception in the world. Like, there's things that we want to do, and we're able to do more things, and we're able to create more concepts if we have that personal brand.
Of course. You
And
guys,
obviously, I'm trying to boost my guy here, who is a producer as well, isn't it?
I'll boost you as well.
Yeah.
I'll get your P stars up.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
come on,
Yeah,
come on,
man.
come on.
Exactly. No, we I think we're similar, because I think you guys have sort of such ambition in different fields as well. So it's not just the podcast. It's not like you're solely, you know, clear vision on the podcast. It's like
Yeah.
you've got so many other streams you want to branch into.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Like, I could never, and like, obviously I would if music took off, but the idea of just focusing on one thing,
Yeah, you
your
can't
whole
spread
life,
yourself too
it
thin.
just scares me a little bit.
Mm.
Like, I would always want to do something else.
Yeah,
Like,
but
like have hobbies and other stuff on the side. So as you got like the clothing brand or the podcast, you've got loads of stuff you want to branch into. Whereas it's not just the podcast, you know what I mean? Like, there's loads of avenues you want to explore with it.
yeah,
I'm the
but
same.
at the moment, the podcast is the baby, innit?
Yeah,
That we're trying to
nurturing.
raise up. Yeah, exactly. We're trying to
Feed it.
nurture that thing solely, so that everything else kind of springs out from it.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you will have to have one main focus, right? Like, if you have like multiple focuses,
Mm.
then you're not going to be successful, because
Yeah.
what you focus on is what you will amount to.
Exactly. And it's also not just, but even within music itself, it's not like, you know, I'm in a position now where if it was to take off and it was to be my full-time, you know, 9 to 5, what I did for a living, I could not just focus on, you know, the songwriting or making the songs in the studio. It's like I've also got the produce. Yeah, it's varied, even though it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I could be producing for a long time and then get a little bit bored of it. Like, today I don't want to do producing. I want to do like engineering, or maybe we'll direct a music video, or
Yeah,
do something
yeah.
else, go do a show, to do a podcast, that kind of thing. So there's loads of branches you can, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Exactly.
it's good that you've got different interests and stuff that you want to do. I think anyway, it broadens you.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I guess if you didn't have like loads of different things that you're interested in, then you're not a human being, because that's
100%.
like, you know, the definition of a human being is like it's multifaceted. Like, you're
Mm.
gonna be interested in so many different things. It's just a skill to divert all of your attention into one field, and then branch out from it.
100%.
Definitely.
But yeah, why do you want to do this podcast, bro?
Why do I want to do this?
Yeah, what the
podcast?
fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why are you here?
My answer was
CJ?
so
Why
stupid.
Why the hell am I here? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
basically, sorry, for me, we started last year around I think it was
Lockdown times.
yeah, around, it was like the end of a lockdown when we were in and out of lockdowns and that.
Yeah.
I wasn't really like wasn't really going out places, wasn't really like wasn't really doing anything. So it's kind of like I was lacking kind of skills, like life skills, you know, like because I haven't really been out communicating out, haven't really been seeing things, and it was that chat we had with Ben, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About just, you know, where we're all heading, where we're all going and all that. And a conversation from that kind of spark, we had a chat after that conversation and we're like, you know, we feel like we could like, imagine like building a podcast where we can just, you know, get people with different skill sets, just understand, basically increase our perception of life. Because obviously life is about perception. So it's good to, you know, connect with people with who are in different avenues and kind of, you know, understand the way they work and kind of share things. It's kind of like, you know, share things with each other and kind of
it broadens our horizons, doesn't it?
Broadens our horizons, and we get a better understanding of aspects of life, really.
You interview interesting people as well. It's not just like one side. It's not like you just interview musicians, is it?
Yeah, we
you
try and get
different people.
Yeah, we try and just get people from different avenues. Even people, like, we're trying to get anything in it. Even if we don't necessarily agree with what they're saying, it's good to listen to.
Have that debate.
Yeah, it's good to listen to people.
Thing is, we cultivate bias circles, and those bias circles are based on our interests. And if we just speak to people who align with our interests, then how do we expect to grow if growth comes outside of the comfort zone?
Yeah, of course.
You should write a book, man. This is good. No, it's good. I mean, I agree with you. You're stuck in like an echo chamber, aren't you? It's like Twitter and stuff. When you get targeted at, it's like you're only seeing the stuff that you like and you agree with. You don't have the other sides, and it's tribal as well. Yeah. I studied politics at uni. So
I was gonna bring up the tribal thing. Carry on, though.
Exactly. So it's like it's just the same as politics now as it is with anything. It's like you become so like caught up in what you believe in, your own thoughts and interests, and you're met with people and articles that support that anything you see outside is an instant rejection. Yeah. And it can work musically as well. If you, for example, and this might be, I might be wrong here, but I'm just going to think on the spot, but if you listen to the same genre of music every day of your life, the same rapper every day of your life, and then someone put on something else in the car or on the aux, you'd say, turn it off. I don't want to listen to it. So you like shut yourself off. And as an artist or someone who produces, that can be harmful, man. Like you could be just shutting yourself off to like whole new things in music. So I try to keep it broad. Anyway, go on, you were saying.
There's a lot of people like that, you know.
Bruh, too many people like
just that. Like, even me for a while, innit? Like, I was bumping the same tracks over and over again, innit?
Everyone does that. Everyone does that.
For like a week or so. It's normally a week, right, where you find that one banger.
Yeah, I've got a few at the moment. There's just like, I've got like 5 that I like repeat.
Yeah, because you want to learn the words, innit? Because you want to spaz out in the club or whatever.
Yeah, if you want to be, if it's like not a guilty pleasure one.
If it's like a what?
As long as it's not a guilty pleasure track.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care anymore, man. Like, if it's a guilty pleasure track, I'm just putting it on. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, if you want to judge me, judge me. That's kind of another reason why we started the podcast. Like, I don't want to be afraid to be judged for myself at my present state. Hey, yeah, this has been Kilimanjaro Podcast. Yeah. We didn't get to finish that thought, but obviously we might do this again. Who knows?
You didn't read out his questions, man.
Do you wanna? We can still.
Should we do that now? Yeah, should we do that now? It's like a little bonus bit.
Yeah.
I'll hand you the phone so that you can ask them. Be loud now, don't we? Sorry, I'm not talking to the mic. I'm talking to the.
Yeah, he said, "Why is my wood so?"
Yeah, he wasn't asking about me. He wasn't asking about
he's
me.
asking about his.
Yeah. As if I know. Yeah. As if I've.
Is there something you want to tell us?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, it's not it.
Any possible future collaborations?
None lined up. I'd love to have some. There are obviously artists that you listen to that you think, wow, we'd make.
That's a stupid question, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean,
no, I'm a musician. I'm not going to collaborate.
Yeah, I just do my own stuff. Yeah, just me.
Yeah, it's because this guy has an ego, innit? Like, we're trying to like pattern him up. But, what does success look like for you?
Say that again, sorry.
What does success look like for you?
I've seen one of these questions. What is a good question? Because you can't quantify success.
How is it?
You're still getting messages. No, it's good. It gives me time to think. How was I? What? Success. Hard to quantify. There's no parameters I have that's like when I hit this, I'm successful.
I think there's no such thing.
Exactly.
I feel like you have something in your head right now
Yes.
that is success.
Yes.
And when you reach that, it's going to change.
I think my parameter of success at the moment is proving people wrong about what I do.
Yeah.
Because obviously, especially when
it's
you're...
like a Michael Jordan take, right?
Literally, exactly. That's why I like watching that One Dance thing.
Yeah.
Not one. Oh my
One
God,
Dance.
One Dance.
I know One Dance.
While I watching the one, no, while I
That's
watching
his
the last
outro
dance.
song, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the outro song. Yeah. No, so you're right. So when I was
The
doing
last
this,
dance, isn't it?
obviously,
Yeah.
when you start out, people in your area, you're an affluent area. So when you're like producing rap beats, which you want to try and rap or do anything, a lot of people, whether it's friends, family, people close to you, do not like it, and they're like, you know, this is stupid. I don't want to be associated with it. Even people now, still people now that we grew up with. So I think for me, what's really a motivating factor is proving people wrong. Whether it's people who've like had nothing to do with it, or people that like don't like it. I'm like, you know, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them as well. I do not blame them, because when you start anything, when you're not making it successful, people are like, we do it.
Yeah.
So I do not blame anybody or anything who's like, you know what, we don't want to listen to him. Like, fuck that guy. But that's my motivation. To be like, you know what, I respect you entirely, but I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah. No, that's nice.
That's the other one.
I feel like everyone who's doing something productive right now, and productive is such a cringy word in itself.
Yes.
But yeah, anyone who's productive kind of has that bone in them that's like, okay, I'm gonna prove someone wrong, because you need to find. Although you need discipline, you need to find external inspiration too.
100%.
You know, what is going to take you out of ends? When you prove people wrong.
I was never in ends. I was to be in ends to get out of ends. I was never in them.
Why the nose ring?
I don't have a nose ring. I used to have a nose stud.
Okay.
Which actually I would still have now. I did like how it looked, but I had to take it out for a work job.
Yeah.
And is that all?
Yeah.
I had to take it out for a work job, and it closed up in like 6 hours. And I was devastated. I was literally like, oh my God, I've just spent all this money on a fucking nose ring, and like it's gone.
I was gonna get a nose ring, but like
it looks good. I think you would look good with a nose ring.
It looks good, but it's, obviously it closes quickly, innit? And it's like you have to maintain it. So like
you have to clean it all the time.
And
more than it is. As soon as it comes out, within a few hours it's gone, which sucks. Yeah, absolutely sucks. So even if like, for example, I played a lot of football, and so you obviously can't wear jewelry for that. Yeah. So it's like I would get it back now, but for the job and for football and anything we do outside, it's like it's just not worth it. But no, we used to have a nose ring, but why? Because it looks fucking cool. It looks good. Yeah, because I liked it. That's why.
Another stupid. Anyways, any closing? Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Thank you both for having me on. It's been really good. I didn't expect it to go half the avenues and the rabbit holes it went down. It's really interesting.
You seem like you're used to podcasts, man. You're saying this is your first podcast.
This is my first one, my very first one. Like interview, podcast, anything for music. I didn't tell you this, but I used to be an actor.
Is it?
So I used to, as a child, I was into some acting stuff. So I used to have some interviews for that. But nothing like musically talking about myself or about my childhood or anything. So this is the first time, but thanks, man. Literally been such a pleasure.
No, it just seems like you've thought about it before.
Doing podcasts?
No, I think you've thought about what you said today before you said it today. Apart from when you were just riffing, obviously. Yeah,
well, some of the things we talked about today obviously are off the cuff.
Yeah.
Some of them you think about because obviously you'll come into a podcast and be like, do you know, I need to. What if they throw me way off board? Like, what am I going to say? But also because it's stuff you think about as well. Like the stuff you will talk about. Why did you make music? Or like, why did you have these thoughts? You think about that on a daily basis. I have arguments in the shower with myself every day, man. I'm literally thinking like, you know, why am I doing this? And I'm answering back to myself.
I get angry at myself in the shower too, bro. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Exactly. Shower's a place to vent, honestly.
But like in your head, like obviously you're not fucking screaming.
Oh, I don't know.
You get some random Donny knocking on the door. You're like, fuck off.
Exactly. No, I've got the shampoo out like I'm on the stage trying to argue with someone. But no. I think closing thoughts. If anyone's watching, I don't know when. Sorry.
That one view.
Sorry. If you made it this far, well done.
Like that.
I've got loads of stuff coming. So I don't know when this is gonna go out, but hopefully we'll have loads of new songs, loads of new shows. So if you're based in and around London, come. on the Instagrams, I think we will link it anyway, but it's olivier.uk. So just look on there. There's always new stuff happening, new shows, new singles. Can't wait. Maybe we'll have a chat again.
Yeah,
Who
man.
knows?
Yeah,
Maybe we'll come back in a year's time and we'll all be at the top. And
Yeah, man. No, that's the plan, anyways, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's what we envision for part 2 is, but that might
exactly.
not always happen.
We'll come back and we'll be interviewing people, and it's just like, oh, remember when we were in that fucking hot podcast studio in the middle of Avenue Road,
Talking about ex-girlfriends that I should never.
Yeah,
speak
talking about how he's a womanizer and trial and error. And
No, you know what? I actually got sucked into that whole conversation. You know, I was like, I have to make sure that no one thinks I'm a womanizer.
yeah, oh my god.